Welcome back to Gabbin with Gab. We all know this microphone does nothing, but it's part of the show, it's part of the podcast. Here's what's cameo for the episode, and now we're done. Anyway, welcome back. I hope everybody is doing okay. I know it's like mid-summer nights, mid-July, but it's also kind of getting towards the end of the summer, which for me makes me excited because I am excited to go back to school. I move in like a month from like a few days ago, which is crazy. We just picked up our couch. Shout out Lauren's sister Paige for our house. My dad built my loft for my bed. Stuff is coming together. It's pretty exciting. And speaking of school, today's podcast episode is going to be about freshman year and advice and stories and flops and happy things from my freshman year and what I learned from my experience. And you may be saying, Gabby, you were a freshman during COVID 2 years ago. What do you have to say that's relevant to me? Well, I argue that I restarted school 3 times, not education-wise, kind of, but people-wise, environment-wise. I've done it a lot, So I feel like I'm qualified to speak on the subject. And also, you may be thinking, Gabby, I'm a junior, I'm a senior, already graduated. I don't care. Well, I am here to say that this video might be great for you to watch just to get a walk down memory lane. Sometimes it's nice to just sit and reflect, So, I thought we could do a little chronological order. I'll sprinkle some of my stories in the way there. I've got my notes on my notebook, my moleskin. Anyway, so, where do we start? Dorm shopping. Everybody's like, you need storage. You need storage, and you do. You need storage because you have a lot of stuff probably that you're going to bring. But I'm going to say one thing that you don't need to bring necessarily is all of your clothes. It is definitely time to go through your closet. Anything that you don't feel confident in, get rid of. Anything that you can't picture at least 2 outfits with, get rid of. You're going to want to buy more clothes at school. Art. I dropped my bone. You're going to want to buy more clothes at school. You are going to want to buy maybe business clothes, maybe a little bit more scandalous clothes. Maybe you want to try a new trend. And you need to leave room in your closet for that, especially if you rush and you're about to get a whole motherload of sweatshirts and things like that. So keep that in mind when you're packing for your dorm. But one thing that I recommend purchasing for your dorm, I have the Dormify 3-tier thing. I think a lot of girls get one, and I actually really like it. I still use it in my room at home. I set it up and I use it all the time. So that's a highly recommend thing for me. You know what? Other thing you should buy that's nice that I seriously can attest to is a nice mattress topper. Okay? I was spoiled. I have a Tempur-Pedic mattress topper, and that thing is heavenly. It also has a cooling thing on it. It's amazing. But literally just getting any mattress topper is gonna be so helpful. I know everyone says that, but I invested in a good one because sleep is important to me, and if sleep is important to you, I recommend that's maybe where to splurge more than on decor and stuff like that, because pictures are great for decor. It's a reminder of home, reminder of your friends from home, and they're not super expensive to print versus buying prints, buying a ton of decor that you may not even use the next year necessarily. Pictures are your go-to. I'd also recommend getting a light of some kind. I know my freshman year, we had TikTok lights in our room. We also had a string of white lights and my girl power neon sign, and it was cute. And I feel like it's important to have something besides overhead light, daytime fluorescent, and pitch black we're going to bed. We need levels in here, even if you're too cool for TikTok lights. Which no one's too cool for TikTok lights. Try to bring some string light or lamp, or literally we're going nightlight vibes, especially if one of your roommates is asleep and the other one's awake. And then I'd also recommend getting a good pair of jeans, go-tos. I actually just got a pair I really like from American Eagle, so I recommend there. Or I know some people love the good American jeans, but those are more expensive. And then a good pair of headphones that have noise blocking. I'm guessing most classes are back in person these days, but it's really nice to have that noise blocking effect from your roommates, and just so you can focus if you are doing homework or anything like that. But I lived with Ruby my freshman year. She was my roommate, and we were a pretty good pair. And then I had my own room, shared an apartment last fall, and then my own room in my own dorm last spring. And I'll be living in a house with 8 other girls in the fall. So lots of different living scenarios for me. And I feel like the most important things in like a roommate situation is like be direct with each other. If you are passive, it's just going to lead to trouble and drama that's unnecessary. Some people have habits that they don't realize how they affect other people, or some people have pet peeves that they hate when people do certain things, and they just it's better to tell your roommate rather than start an argument. I will say that Ruby and I had very different nap schedules, especially when our classes were off sync. So I also recommend a sleeping mask if you can wear it. I know some people can't sleep with stuff on their face, but I use my Tempur-Pedic sleeping mask, and I actually got her one for Christmas too. So we both had them, and there was times where we literally both had them on our faces, and Brandon would come in our room and we'd both just be passed out asleep, But another thing that's important, especially if you're a freshman year roommate, in the first week or so, just get each other's location. Even if you guys don't end up being best friends, it's really important to have each other's backs. I know a lot of people haven't really experienced what it's like to go out in college before, so it's good to not keep tabs on each other, but just to make sure the other person's okay, especially before you guys have found your core group of people, or your go-to places and stuff like that. Let's see. I wonder if I have any more funny dorm. I don't really have that many other fun dorm roommate stories for you. Ruby and I were pretty good roommates. I will say though, it's kind of nice to buy your own things rather than splitting the price on everything, because when you split the price, then you have to figure out at the end of the year who's going to take it, are we going to pay each other back for that money, things like that, So sometimes it's nice, she had a cute tapestry, and then I got the light and some other stuff for my side of the room, and it was pretty cohesive still, but it wasn't we had to sit there and do a bunch of math on the last few days. Also, I didn't do this as much first semester freshman year, but I definitely like making my bed, or at least pulling the covers up. It just keeps me from going home and taking a nap right when I get home. It's nice to have somewhere else in your room to sit. Even if it's at your desk, get a chair cushion, throw a blanket over that ish. It's probably not the cutest. It's not glamorous. It's still a dorm, but you can make it as comfortable as you want for yourself. Also get a little vacuum. Get a good one. The one we had freshman year, not good. I don't think we used it much because it was not good. We also had a shag rug first semester that got really dirty. Do not get a shag rug, even if it's cute and white and fluffy. Don't do it. Don't do it. But I got a good vacuum this year, and I really liked it. Just get some crumbs up, because you're going to eat in your room. You might eat it in your bed. I do it sometimes, and it's good to get the crumbs up. Yeah, anyway, so that's dorm stuff, the roommate stuff. And then you get to school, and you have to make friends. And that can be hard for some people. I know some people have had really great friend groups in high school, but they've been comfortable with the same people their whole life, and they don't really know how to make new friends. Or if you're more introverted, you're used to your solid group of best friends, and you're how do I put myself out there? And it can be a little tricky for sure. And I think at the very basis of making friends, your first few weeks, you have to not judge people based on your first interaction with them. Talking to everyone, getting to know as many people as you can before you find your vibe, who you're going to be with, your group is so important. You just cannot be afraid to put yourself out there, and I know it's hard sometimes, and if you are super introverted like that, I challenge you to try to reach out, and if you can't, I'd find someone you to stick by to help ease you in to the social scene, because it usually is very different from high school. And if there's girls and groups and boys of people and there's girls or boys or groups of people that are acting like it's still high school, then maybe we don't want to be friends with them necessarily. Maybe we don't really want cliques, because you don't need that. And if people are being rude or judgmental, you don't have to be their friend. I promise you'll find other people, or your group may be smaller, and that's okay. That also goes to, there's some red flags in finding friends that you pick up on, and you probably need to learn this all for yourself anyway, but like, I know people sometimes where it's like, you think they're going to be like a really great friend, and then it doesn't exactly go as planned, and so there's just some things you can do to help protect yourself from possibly bad situations, like maybe not talking about everything you have in your room and like valuables or like money, family money. That can also come off as a little like braggy to people, but it's just good to maybe keep those things separate and protected. It might be also good to steer away from people who necessarily haven't had strong friendships before. That doesn't mean steer away from all of them, but maybe you dip your toe in. I know some people just maybe aren't as mature as others, and you don't want to be in a uneven friendship or feel like you're having to really teach someone how to be a good person or a good friend. I'm not really speaking from personal experience here, but I've heard a lot of things, and I've seen people go through a lot of things. So anyway, let's see. Oh, okay, this is another little story. So this little note I wrote says, don't be afraid to DM people, text people first. And this relates to, hold on, my back is like killing me. Okay, this relates to when I was in Chicago, my friend Kennedy DM'd me to like get my Snap, and then asked me to go to lunch with her and another girl that she found on Instagram. And like, Columbia College Chicago is definitely an unconventional school, so you have to kind of find friends in unconventional ways, and I don't know, I just feel like that's really cool that she had the, like, it was no big deal for her to like DM someone and ask them to hang out, which like for me, I feel like I'd be a little nervous to do that, but I feel like, what's the harm? It's not like I'm sitting here like, oh, like, he'll be this girl talk to me. It's like, no, awesome, like, let's go meet new people. Like, everybody wants people that they enjoy spending time with and that bring out the best in them, so don't be afraid to reach out first. I think sometimes it's just like you're afraid of getting rejected or like what people will think, but like, nobody is like, you're not gonna be like, it'll be okay. I promise you it'll be okay. I'm gonna try to take my own advice on that one and not be afraid to reach out to people. It's usually works out pretty dang well. But shout out Kennedy for that one. With your friend groups, remember that you are the most important. That sounds really selfish, but I've said it before, said it again, I kind of want to make it a whole episode about it. This is like the one time in your life where you can be truly selfish. You know, like, your life suddenly goes from being about a lot of different things to solely about you and what you want to do with your future. And like, some days you wake up and remember that, and it only affects you by like, maybe I am going to put on mascara today, even though like nobody else is, because I want to feel good in class and that makes me feel put together. Or maybe you wake up and you're like, why have I been totally throwing away this passion I used to love? And like, you get back into it, and it can mean a lot of different things. But like, friendship wise, I would say, remember, you're allowed to take time for yourself. You don't always need someone else to eat with or go to the gym with or things like that. It is great when you have those people, but you do spend more time alone in school usually than if you were super involved in stuff in like high school. And I think that's a good thing, because it forces you to be a little introspective and it forces you to learn how to have fun by yourself. But in relation to that in total, I know for me personally, I made obviously big decisions about who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with the rest of my life that affected everything. Like, I changed schools twice. I transferred twice. If you're interested in hearing more about that, I did a really good episode with Julia like forever ago. I'll include it so you guys can watch that if you want to. But, you know, I was so worried about quitting theater and things like that, because I was like, oh, I put all this effort and money and time and all these people helped me get to where I was. And like, yes, that's true, but also like, I would not have been happy or fulfilled. Luckily, my parents supported me, because they are the ones helping me pay for college, which I know some scenarios are very different from that. Don't want to sound ignorant in that stance, but I had to make that choice for myself, and I'm so happy I did, because now I'm going to the kind of school I've always wanted to go to, surrounded by the kind of people that I really connect with, and doing something that I care about that's different from what I've done the rest of my life. And like, that can be scary, but I was confident in my decision, and I still am confident in my decision, and that really shaped me as an individual. I think a lot about, everyone's like, oh, you find yourself in college or things like that, but it's less about like discovery and more about like the decisions you make, and like if you're making a conscious effort to make the best possible thing out of your life. And I don't want to sound like too preachy here or anything like that, but I don't know. It's fun to explore what makes you feel good and what makes you confident. Like, it's fun to try different makeup. It's fun to like try different outfits. It's fun to hang out with new kinds of people. Like, this is your chance to try so many new things and become whoever you want to be. So take it, you know? Yeah. Let's see what else I wrote about that. I feel like I hit all of it. Oh, this is another thing about like being yourself, and if you have a routine, like a certain fitness routine or like health routine, study routine that's worked for you your whole life, you feel free to change it. But if that routine's worked for you and you love it, don't just like let it go. Like, especially with eating and going to the gym, you're in charge again. You are in the driver's seat. But I know for me, I kind of took a break from going to the gym for a little. I was still dancing, which was great, but like my freshman year, and then my roommate and I started to get back into it, and I just felt so good, and I remembered the energy and the confidence I got from that, not even like because of how my body looked, but just because of how my body felt. And I think it's important to remember what had made you feel good before might make you feel good again, even if you haven't done it for a little bit or a little while. So that's my rant about confidence, and it kind of ties into another podcast episode for another day about why I think it's okay to be cringy or chuggy or whatever you call it. But one thing I will say about it is, if you feel pretty, take the selfie. If you like the picture of you and your friend, you think you both look cute, post it. Make as many ridiculous TikToks as you want, because why not? If you're afraid of people judging you, make a new secret account, because social media is out there. It's not going away. It's hard to limit your time on it. I say it's better to be creating than consuming at some point. And it's fun. It's fun to do the little dances. It's fun to see if you can do a transition video. Like, let yourself have fun online and make a secret account and just let it be your burner, so in 10 years you can go back and look and be like, look how much fun we were having. You know? I just don't want people to hold themselves back because they're worried about being judged or anything like that. I obviously don't. I put these videos on YouTube for anyone to see, and it took a while for me to get here, but I'm doing it. So, if I can do it, you can do it, in my opinion. Okay, all of that aside, let's just go through some, like, basics that, you know, maybe some people don't know, and that's okay, because we're here to learn. No shame in that game. Hygiene. Make sure you shower and brush your teeth. Get some good shower shoes. It can be really therapeutic to take a shower in college, because sometimes that's the only alone time you have to sit and think and process your thoughts. And sing. Sing in the shower. Who cares? Who cares? Isn't that how Pitch Perfect started? She was singing in the shower, like... Anyway. I definitely sing in the shower, but that's also because I was a musical theater major, and half my floor was, and we were all singing in the shower at the Turbo. But, sing in the shower, because why not? Laundry. If you've never done laundry before, that's okay. You get your hamper, you get your Tide or your detergent, you find the washing machine, you put your quarters in, put your stuff in. I use less soap than they recommend usually, and I like to wash on cold. I've done a whole laundry routine TikTok, which is on my page, Gabbin W Gab page. And then I like to dry on low, air dry, maybe I dry my towels, sheets, and stuff on hot. But it's pretty easy. Don't be overwhelmed by it. Some people might be like, why are you talking about this? Like, duh, we know how to do laundry. Some people haven't done their own laundry before, okay? So let them breathe. I recommend not using like Tide Pods or beads or anything like that, because they might get clogged in the machines at school and stuff like that. Okay. Completely different note. Let's talk about class and your education. So, I've said it a million times, I was a musical theater major my freshman year, which means one of my first assignments in college was making up a silly walk, telling a 10-minute story while consistently doing that silly walk for a crowd. Besides singing and dancing. That was one of my first assignments, and it's very different than my first assignments as a social media major or a marketing major. That's for sure. But one of the things it did teach me in good old Rick's acting class was class can be fun. And sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. I know that depending on how many hours you're taking, or if you're taking a ton of hard classes or a ton of like easier classes, a lot of people's academic schedules are different, but most people get through it, and you can get through it. If you have to drop a class, you have to drop a class. If you want to end up taking that class over the summer, that's great. If you're staying a 5th year or graduating early, that's great. Everybody's path is different, and it's not a race. It is not a race. Like, I felt like it was a race when I was a musical theater student. And, sorry, my dog scared me. And that's just not true, because everybody's path is totally different. But a few tips, notes on classes and stuff. So most colleges have a few different class types. You have your lecture halls, which are like big classes. It can be like, I think my biggest one in Miami was only like 150 this semester, which was really nice, but it can be like that, or it can be like, I think at some schools like 300, 400 for like a freshman seminar class. And that's you like sitting taking notes. Maybe your teacher makes it more engaging, but those aren't necessarily the most fun classes unless you're around fun people, you sit with fun people. But what you can do to like really take advantage of that session is take notes and then try to maybe do your work while the teacher's talking, but try to do stuff related to that class or topic, because I think it is so much better to learn in the classroom while you can, instead of having to take time to teach yourself things. And I know some people need to learn different ways than what the teacher teaches. But for me at least, I found that trying to learn in class worked the best for me. And then you have like smaller classes where you might like be at tables and have table groups and like interactive discussions and really get to know your teacher more. And those are the classes that are usually more familiar to like high school classes, and those are nice because you get more time to talk loudly and work on things instead of just having to whisper under your breath while the teacher talks. But it's also so easy nowadays to get on your computer and have your notes open and also be on Pinterest, or your notes open and also be online shopping. And while sometimes it is so boring and I do that, I think it's really good to try to force myself to be productive in class. So even if I'm not actually taking notes, I like to do homework for another class or things like that. I just don't want to waste the time that I'm there. And I know some people don't even go to classes and they just teach themselves things when attendance like isn't mandatory or something like that. But to me, it makes more sense to take advantage of the time you're in the classroom to learn, so you can have fun in the times you're not in the classroom. Taking notes on your computer is helpful. I've seen people do it a lot of different ways. One long Google Doc for the whole semester, different Google Docs for different days, literally in their notes app. I like to use Notion for taking notes in class on my computer, but I also like some classes where I'm writing. This is one of my notebooks I use as like a planner, but not really. I have my Google Calendar. I have my calendar on my computer, like my Apple calendar. It's on my phone, computer, my watch. Love it. I made my classes one calendar and I shared it with my parents, so because my mom wants to know when she can call me. And then I had another calendar for things for my sorority, and then another one for like fun stuff, and I have another one for like work, and that way it's like different colors. I put my classes in my calendar because sometimes your brain farts and you forget things. I feel like having it actually in your calendar, you don't have to keep it in your head. That's kind of the same reason I use this. Like, used to have a smaller one. I just got this in like December, but like I'm trying to find like a page where there's not like my inner feelings written on the inside, because I also kind of use it like as a journal. Yeah, okay, heard. So like this is just like a list of like homework and stuff. And Oh yeah, it just helps me keep organized, and I definitely feel like everyone needs to find their own way of keeping organized and things like that. This is just what works for me. I also know that some people really like getting that fresh new stationery. Hit up your Walmart. You don't need to go to Target. You can spend less money at Walmart or like Amazon, but like, you know, I love the like thicker pens, like the 1mm instead of like the 0.7 or the 0.3 or whatever. I like the thicker ink, and I just found a colorful pack on Amazon instead of just the black and the blue, so I'm really excited about that. But I like to write things like math, econ, stuff with numbers better than typing. It's just easier for me. Try not to do your homework in your bed. It's hard. Try not to watch Netflix while you're doing your homework. I know some people need like sound. I recommend podcasts. I recommend music. I recommend studying with other people, but Netflix is it's like auditory and visual, and it's so easy to get sucked into that, just like TikTok. But another thing about study dates, know what homework you can do with people and like how much you actually need to get done and how much you can need to do by yourself. I think it's really fun to have study dates with other people, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything, and that's okay. But sometimes I'm like, I didn't do anything, and I actually have so much to do, and then I'm just feeling overwhelmed. I know sometimes, like, we would go to, anyway, I know sometimes, like, I would do homework with other people, and it would be so fun, and then I'd be like, well, now I need to go to the practice room by myself and sing for a few hours because I really didn't get as much done as I'd hoped. And it's just kind of like finding that balance, because being social is really important to me, and I'm sure really important to a lot of people in college. So yeah, with friends are also fun. We used to go to Target and Starbucks a lot my freshman year. Shout out Brandon, shout out Brandon's car, but shout out Brandon more. And that was always nice to get off of campus. I lived on a really small campus freshman year, and it was during COVID. But that kind of study break, going to the gym is a study break. Watching Netflix can be a study break if you're not watching Netflix while you're doing your homework. You see how that kind of balances out? Check your Canvas or Schoology or whatever. Sometimes teachers throw a little sneaky in there, and then you're like, just lost 15 points for no reason just because I didn't check. So check that stuff. And then also another tip about that kind of thing is, before you get to school, clean out your computer. Delete the copies. Get a separate hard drive storage device, because you want that bad boy to run in class, you want the bad boy not to die, and you want there to be room so if the fan's not blowing the whole time like the fan's been blowing this whole video. My computer is very full. I need to upload stuff into my hard drive. Guilty. Guilty. Sorry, that was cringe, but whatever. Yeah. So, to end this, I'm just going to tell you guys a few more stories from my freshman year of college, which is just, you know, a time. Ruby and I had a projector that we put on the ceiling. We had a really tiny dorm. We made it work, but we didn't have a TV. We put the projector on the ceiling. We'd lay in our beds and watch a show. I got her hooked on Marvel. That's one of my good memories because we would do it a lot, and it was fun, like, just roomy time, just hanging out, bonding. I know there was one night where I think she was on the phone or something, and she was in the room, and I was like, oh, I'll give you privacy, and I went to the lounge to just, like, hang out. It was, like, 2 doors down, and I fell asleep in the lounge, and my phone was there in the couch, and everybody was looking for me and trying to call my phone, and, of course, my ringer's been off since, like, 2008, and probably like 2012, but like no one could find me until the morning when I woke up and I was in the lounge, and I was so confused, but it was like so late when I went to bed. Whatever. It was really fun. Of course, there's also the story of the fire and the arsonist, but that's like its own separate thing. Kind of personal, but I definitely was going through a really hard time my freshman year. On some aspects, my mental health was really bad. I was dealing with like side effects from medicine, and once I knew I didn't want to be at that school anymore, it was almost harder for me because I knew I had to finish the year, because for musical theater school you can't really transfer in halfway through. I struggled that like February, January until like March-ish, and you know, it taught me a lot about myself, a lot about what makes me happy, a lot about what trusting yourself, trusting others means. But if you're in school or in a situation where you're kind of feeling the same and you're just feeling down and hopeless, I know it's annoying when people say you'll get through it. Like whenever my mom said you'll get through it, it's like, girl, will I? Like, honestly, but it's about finding what makes you at your core happy and fulfilled, and gratitude saved and changed my life, and I'm happy to talk about that so much more. But see, I'm looking back with a smile on my face because I have good memories from that time as well, and that has to do also with the people that I was surrounded by, who I'm so grateful for. And I don't want to sound preachy anymore. I wish I had more stories to tell, but that will have to come in 6 months. If for your freshman year, everybody, make the most of it. Take the pictures. Take the damn pictures. It's gonna fly by. Everyone says that. I'm sounding like a book full of cliches right now. That's because it's true. I have restarted schools 3 times, and I have the biggest collection of memories, and what ends up standing out to me is the funny things that you didn't expect. And that also goes to say, learn how to have fun without substances. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I was a little scatterbrained at the end here. Just have lots of different thoughts, and I don't want to sound too preachy. I've just done it a lot. But I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you would be interested in just an audio recording podcast instead of video. I'm going to keep doing video, but I do always record on my microphone separately, so I could always upload just the sound onto a certain platform if anybody's interested in that. But thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye!